interesting spot. Kansas City, Missouri, 1-2 match the stack. Plays really deep, kind of like Texas games.
Is this at
There
the
is a 2-5.
Ameristat, Ameristar, or
No,
Harris?
it's Harrah's. There's only
Okay.
2 rooms open right now. Hollywood, which is a $5 drop plus $1 for promotional rake, and then Harrah's is a $4 plus one.
The
So I
last
play at
time,
Harrah's.
the last time I was in Kansas City, I stayed at the Harris because it had a free room. But that was Kansas City, Overland Park area was one of the areas that my wife and I were actually looking at before we decided on Austin to relocate. But then I played at the Ameristar in a special game too, a limit Big O game. So I love Kansas City.
Oh yeah, great,
So
great, great place. So, so 1-2 match a stack, 2K effective, very very deep. The main villain in this bought in about an hour previous and matched my stack at 1800.
okay.
So this is the first hand that we had actually got involved with each other. We had he was very nitty, so hadn't really played a lot of hands. I play quite a few hands. So, okay, getting into it. So folds to me, hero on the button. I have 5-8 of hearts.
Okay.
I raised a 15, which was standard. This is a Saturday night, so standard raise was 15.
No straddles, just a 7x raise or whatever.
No straddle, but it was straddling probably 50% of the time, so I take that into consideration.
Okay.
That you can get away with. I
Right.
mean, if you raise it to 10, you're going to get 8 callers. It is what it is. So, small blind immediately 3-bets me to $40. This is the villain, pretty nitty. Big blind folds, comes around to me. We're super deep, so I call.
Yeah, just a couple of things on this too. I mean, the small blind sizing is very, very small. So when it comes back around to you, the pot is like just under 60 and it's 25 for you to call. I would call here for sure. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, fold pre-flop. Not that, not that, Garrett from Hustler Casino Live does everything right. And he's definitely, he'll make some mistakes and make some large exploits, but I can almost guarantee you in this spot, this deep, that he would never, ever fold, especially against a small 3-bet like this. Now, if the guy had made it more like 60, 75, I think where I start,
it's a fold.
Yeah, I really start to defend, this is as late of a configuration as you can get. Meaning like you're opening the widest range and then small blind should be probably playing 3-bet or fold. But he should, it's a 1-2 game, so who knows how he constructs his 3-betting range. But I might defend with like 6-8 suited this deep. All the direct suited connectors for sure. It's really where that gap comes into play. Now, when you're doing the 2 gaps, it's very, very hard to flop good here with the 2 gap. Well, actually, this is a 3. I don't know if I guess this would be a 2 gap. Yeah. So, but I will say that I think that this actually can be a profitable call, especially with position. I would never dream of calling out of position here, so I can get on board with it.
Okay, so 82 to the flop, deuce of hearts, 4 of clubs, 6 of spades. So pretty decent flop.
Deuce of hearts, 4 of clubs, 6 of spades. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Double gutter, backdoor hearts.
Yeah, this is a hidden double gutter that some people might miss, right? You've got a double gut shot to a 3. And also you can with a 7. And as you pointed out, you've got a backdoor heart draw too, which makes it even better. So there you go.
Right. So he pretty quickly bets $55. I don't think there's really anything to do here but call with his range. He's not folding yet. So.
Well, here's the thing. When you look at this type of board, this would absolutely, favor you as the opener and the defender, especially, if you're defending quite a wide range because of his small 3-betting. It's not quite as extreme as if the board came out like 7-5-4 or 5-6-7, where you might even consider as the small blind actually checking a little bit for some, kind of pot control because you have so many hands, like as the theory goes. Kind of low, but I don't know if he's 3-betting deuces or 4s here, so you probably have all the sets. And you might have 6-4 suited and, things like that. Now, with that being said here, you could call, and then if he has ace king, he's going to give up, and you can just bet the turn too. So right. I think probably the standard play here is to call, although I will say if I got a board of like 7-4, 7-4-5, something like that with the backdoor, you can start to attack these boards with like pair plus straight draw types of situations, but I can get on
Right.
board with a call.
Right. So pretty standard. The turn, it gets a little interesting. Ace of hearts.
Okay, I'm putting about 200 here, even though it might be
Yeah,
just
that's
a
about
slight.
right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
192.
So Ace of Hearts comes. So now you've got like a 15. I mean, you've got a double gutter and a flush draw, the biggest draw in the world, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
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 So villain. So that reduces combos of aces. Obviously, reduces combos of ace king. I think his range pre-flop is probably aces, kings, maybe queens, and ace king suited.
Mm-hmm.
Also makes me think my heart draw is definitely good because he can't have ace king suited of hearts, obviously.
You don't think he's like 3-betting like ace queen off, king jack suited, queen jack suited, things like that?
Man, from what I've seen and the way, I mean, you might see a 3-bet in the table I was at. You might see a 3-bet twice an hour. I mean, there was not a lot of 3-betting going on at this table, and this guy had not 3-bet yet, so he'd been there an hour. So maybe, but I don't know.
Okay.
I kind of put him on aces, kings, or ace king, maybe, and probably queens.
Mm-hmm.
So he tanks for like 45 seconds to a minute on this card, kind of like he's confused about what to do. He ends up betting 120.
So 120. So he bets 120 into 200, right?
Yeah, 60% pot. Yeah, just over half pot.
So let me go and give you my thoughts here on this street with the range that you've assigned, and which I don't think is unreasonable in some of these games when someone has a really, really tight 3-betting range. So I think it really comes down to how often is he going to bet here again with kings and queens? And he might, but the thing is that even if you don't, like, even if he just does that a sliver and you can fold those hands out with a raise, and then if he has ace king, yeah, he's probably not calling, but you have so much equity. And you also have so much equity here too, where even if a guy runs into aces here and you raise, he's not going to blow you off the pot, I don't think. Like, he'll put in a small re-raise, which is fine. I mean, you know, you're putting in more money a little bit behind, but you've got huge implied odds. Now, you know, there's a couple, you know, it's going to be a one-liner out there, like if a 3 were to come. But if there's ever a sliver of time here where he's going to bet fold a hand that's an overpair here to 6s, plus you're building a pot up with about a 1 in 3 chance to the nuts, I can't imagine how that it couldn't be a good play here to raise to get a sliver of fold equity. The only time it wouldn't be, I guess, is if there was just absolutely no fold equity. Like if he bet flop and bet turn, and with all the range that he has, he's never folding, then it would be a call. But I don't think that that's actually the reality of it. I actually think even if you can get him to fold 1 out of 5 to 10 times, it's a profitable raise. So I would start putting money in. And who knows, you might even get some sort of crazy hero fold. Guys will get scared in big pots like this, you know?
Yeah, so I considered raising here with the great turn. I did not raise. Him tanking kind of threw me off a little bit. I'm like, man, I was thinking he either really liked the ace or he hated the ace. Okay. So I'm like, if I raise here into aces and he makes it huge, I'm going to be in a really tough spot.
How are you going to be how are you going to be in a tough spot?
Not in a tough spot. We're building a huge pot, and you know.
I mean, the only time, like, if you were to raise and he were to jam, that would be pretty much the only time. And then you would just look at, even if you were to give him aces, you can count your outs. Like 2 of the hearts won't be good, right? The 4 and the 6. And then you'll have 6, you'll have 6 open-ended outs. So 6 plus 7 is 13. And then, I would just do, some math in that particular spot. You'd probably need about 2.5 to 1. And this is where I like to divide into 45 because it's a little bit actually more accurate than doing the multiply by 2 and 4 because we can just see the opponent's cards. So, I mean, literally, it's actually 44 unseen cards, but 13 outs into, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3 and a half. Like you need 2.5 to 1. So, I think that only good can happen here from raising.
Well, I didn't. I called.
All right. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it even sounds to me like you think that there's a chance he didn't like it, right?
Right. No, looking back, I think I should have raised the turn here for sure. What would your sizing be? Like 300?
Well, you guys started off with 18. So Probably you don't have to raise that large because you're just trying to get like kings and queens to sort of fold out. Now, with that being said, you could go larger if you were going to bluff some rivers in a certain spot. This is great where if there's a front door too, you can bluff the front door, but I would be bluffing a 5 here too, which is a one-liner, obviously, to a 3. And, you know, other than that, if they're brick cards, it's probably going to get pretty dicey. So if you were just trying to fold out queens or kings, you could probably just go to 3 to 3.5x, because I don't know what the difference is here, really, if you go larger. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it really matters. Okay, so you call, so it looks like the pot's like 440 now.
Yeah, 440.
Okay.
And it bricks. 6 of clubs, pairs the board.
Okay.
So, not a great card, but I think it could be a good bluff candidate. I do have some 6s in my range, and if he does not have aces, there's no way he has a full house here. So, unless he's going to hero down the kings, queens, ace, king, I think it's a good bluff card. And then he bets 120. He takes about 15 seconds. He does same bet as the turn, 120. So with small stakes exploit, I'm like, same bet. You know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, but my take on this is that I don't think he's blocking with kings or queens here. I think that those are checks. I think he probably has ace king. I think he's I think he's blocking with ace king here. I don't think, I mean, this is another exploit where even though it would actually make sense for him to size down with aces full here, people would just go, they'll just bet like sort of the strength of their hand. So I think I'm probably just going to fold as played and live to see another day. I think it's very, very optimistic to have all those things line up and think that he's going to go 3 streets here with kings or queens. And then like you're going to raise and, you know, and get him off of those hands, where I think that this is like ace king all day, and then you raise and you're going to get called in this spot, unless the guy's like some sort of like ridiculous uber nit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I did raise. I bumped it up to 385, and he actually tanked.
I don't think that's going to do it.
That didn't do it. So yeah. he tanks for like 30 seconds, and then he calls, and it's funny. He says, "You have quads, don't you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have quads." And he has aces. He has aces full and didn't raise the river.
Aces full.
Aces full and did not 3-bet the river.
And didn't 3-bet the river. Well, I mean, that's amazing that he didn't 3-bet the river there. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's not Omaha. What I think is interesting here, so he actually did size down on the river. I'll give him credit for that. So he was tanking on the turn because it's such a good hand for, it's such a good sort of card for his range, and not, he was probably trying to think about what you're going to, you know, call with. But with that, like I said, with that being said, I think what you'll see though is even if you did raise the turn, you're certainly going to get priced in. Whether or not he calls or he 3-bets, I bet you the 3-bet would be small. And, you know, the thing is that that's why I like raising the turn so much in that particular spot. And then, so let's say you raise the turn and he calls, and now the river's a 6, then you just give up. You don't have to, because I think that the board pair, anytime that you're sort of raising on the come with a big draw and then there's a board pair, it cuts out on your full house combos. And the sheer fact that you raised and he called, now we can even narrow his range down even more. Usually it's going to be ace king, just with a call, once in a while playing ace tricky. And then you just give up. So I would have raised turn and then just given up is what I would have done.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it very much.